There you go. So today we're joined by Maria and Sean, both soil experts in their own ways. Maria is, oh, there's some more people coming in, so I'm just going to admit those. Or Maria and Sean, do you think you could admit people whilst I'm doing intros? Thank you. So Maria is a London-based designer, researcher and maker, exploring craft that encourages more sustainable practices. Her project Hollow Earth began her exploration into sourcing materials from her nearby environments. And these include a range of curious objects such as stones, metals and glass, and debris from past visitors. These decisions are made in order to pave the way towards a more local and sustainable practice. The manifestation of these materials are pieces that endeavour to connect local people with their surroundings. And you can see examples of these on the Narratives of Soil Instagram. And Maria has also done a podcast for us. Sean Ross is a multidisciplinary designer whose work focuses on the intersection of nature and technology and how we can build a more symbiotic relationship between the two. Sean was instrumental in the production of the soil battery that we have at the Think and Think space in Kuching, and this has been running now for 8 months. Okay, I won't hold the floor any longer as we don't have a huge amount of time this morning, and I'll pass you over to Maria and Sean.
Hello, thank you very much for the introductions, Eliza. I think the first thing that we wanted to do is give all of you an opportunity to come off mic and just say a quick hello and maybe just name and where you're from. I think with the workshops, it's always quite nice if we can kind of get some engagement back from you. So it's not just us like talking blindly to the screen. So this is why I'm kind of going to call on you now to make you a little bit uncomfortable. And then once we've done that, we'll then sort of go into a little bit more detail about the project that's behind the living sculptures.
Hello.
So, hello.
Hello.
Over to you first then, Dana. Sorry, does anyone want to come forward, or I will start picking on people for a hello?
I don't mind going first. Sorry, I'm a bit of a disembodied voice. Hi everyone, I'm Becky. Like I said, I'm feeling a little bit poorly and looking very equivalent, so I may try and join you in a bit with my video. So apologies for that. I know it's not best for engagement, but lovely to be with you all this morning, and see some familiar faces as well. I'm an artist based, as I mentioned in the chat, in the Barnet Plateau area of London, which is one of the main a key part where the Anglian glacier melted. So we've got lots of ancient woodland pockets and fertile land up here, so very tuned into what's happening soil wise. Really interested in how we use art practice to kind of really illuminate the animacy of all these of the ecologies and the materials and the relationships around us, and have been exploring regenerative sculpture and kind of materials that I guess would encourage more co-flourishing relationships. So I've been playing with regenerative sculpture of myself and with various levels of results, but this sounded like a fantastic opportunity to test something tried and tested. So yeah, really looking forward to learning with you today.
Amazing, thank you, Becky.
So interesting.
Hi, morning everyone. I'm Greg. I've also been in a workshop with Becky before, which is really nice. Never actually physically met, but there we are. That's the sign of the times. I'm an artist and designer based in London. I've done a couple of projects with soil, hence why my interest is in it. Most recently, distilled the scent of soil for a project that went to the Dochaev Soil Museum in St. Petersburg, and hence my interest in what you guys are up to at the moment.
Amazing, that sounds really interesting.
Hello, I am Marilia. I am from Puerto Rico, but I am currently in Barcelona. And we are in Valdaura Labs. It's the Institute for Advanced Architecture. Here we do a master's in advanced ecological buildings. I recently finished this master's, and I'm also a ceramist. So we have been harvesting local soil and doing clay, processing clay. and we have a small ceramics workshop here. So yeah, very excited to be here.
Yeah, and I'm Kaya. I'm originally from Philadelphia in the US. And I am a academic coordinator here at the Valdaura Labs, but mostly for an online program. My background is in architecture and also cultural heritage, both like natural and cultural. And obviously I have a big interest in gardening and things. We actually do a lot of agriculture here as well. So really thinking about bringing in pollinators and stuff. So I'm very excited about this workshop.
Yeah, super nice. A lot of synergies. It's so nice to have you here.
Yeah, and the background looks incredible as well. I'm not quite sure what's happening, but
This is the workshop space, like the Fab Lab, where students place their cutters. This is our small ceramics area. And yeah.
right. Would anyone else like to come in and introduce?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, selamat pagi and good morning, everybody. My name is Umi. I'm Malaysian, but currently living in the east side of UK. I'm in Norwich. So my background is I'm a batik maker as well as a natural dyer. So I've been working on the kitchen waste, and I do a lot of color extraction from my kitchen waste recently. So I look forward to see everybody's work and to get to know how these programs work, because I'm kind of interested. I'm part of the British Council Connection Through Culture programs, and yeah, yes, looking forward to see everybody and getting to know everyone.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, and it's good to have a good wide breadth of experiences and people here today. Anyone else like to come in?
Yeah, I can go. I'm Hannah. I'm currently in London. I'm doing my master's in St. Martin's in biodesign, and I work with compost primarily, but I thought this might be really interesting, so I signed up. So I'm quite curious to see how it's going to go. Yeah. Thanks.
Amazing. Hopefully it is interesting. We'll find out in the next hour or so. Anyone else?
Hiya. I'm not sure if my video is working.
Working, it's clear. The sun behind you.
Hello?
Yeah, video is working, but very bright sun behind you.
Oh, great. Hi everyone, I'm Elsa. I recently did a master's in material and visual culture at UCL, and I focused my dissertation on kind of the anthropology of soil, of which I worked with Maria with kind of her practice, and so I was looking at kind of how making and growing with London soil can really affect our relationship, or like affect relationships of, well, to the planet kind of broadly, but also kind of how making and growing with soil, kind of how it works with kind of feelings of disconnection with the planet. And yeah, that's that. I'm in Spain right now, hence the sun. And yeah, really looking forward to the workshop.
So nice to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to put my video off because my internet is also quite dodgy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Nick. I'm based in Nottingham. I do sculpture and making. I'm kind of more focused on the actual making of things. I don't have a huge art background, but I like have quite a reasonable practice, and particularly making outdoor stuff. And when I was looking for sculpture things online, the shapes of the thing in the picture was actually really appealing, and the idea of that having something that living and grows some of my outdoor work has been kind of with that in mind for things to grow over, that kind of thing. That'll do.
Fantastic, thank you. Oh, someone beat me to the admit.
Hi,
hello.
I'm Silvia, and I'm based in London. I'm originally Italian. I have been a ceramist in the past. Now I am a garden designer. I'm studying horticulture, and I just wanted to include living sculptures in my designs, and I just want to see, you know, how it works, what it is, and if I can make them. I'm not gonna be making anything real time, but I'm gonna take notes and then I'm gonna make it later. If you want, I can send some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. I think we'll, for those who maybe haven't got the materials or aren't going to be making in real time today, we'll do a quick run through of, so after we've introduced our work a bit more, we'll do a run through of the steps, so you can kind of get a feel for what it is, and we can send the PDF over to you as well. But then after that, we'll then do a more in-depth run through as we kind of make it with you. So it just means that you can kind of get all the information up front if you if you're not going to be making along the way.
Yes. Yeah, someone else wants to introduce.
Hello, I'm Icaro. I'm from Madrid.
Hello.
Hello, and I'm teaching in a ceramic school, and a friend come to this workshop, but he can put in this time and tell me if I want to come, and for this I'm here. And we are very interested in all the living sculpture to work in the school, and for this I am here. Hi all, I don't know how to say.
Yeah, it's so nice to see so many people, that works with ceramics. So it's going to be interesting also to share maybe some other recipes or some other, some thoughts on how you work with clay and local clay. Someone else wants to go?
If not, we can start moving things along. I think, again, timing, we don't want to spend too long not covering what everyone's actually come here for. So maybe we'll kind of introduce the project a little bit more. I mean, some people are joining now.
Hi, I just wanted to say hi, I'm Shay. Sorry, just changing over from one Zoom to another. My name's Shay, and I heard about this through Maria, and I am an artist and architectural designer. I work for Assemble, and I do a lot of freelance installations, public installations, looking at circular economy and environment and biomaterials. And like my last one worked with like algae and was like an algae factory and meadow flower garden. So I'm interested in living structures that transform spaces and engage people with their local environment in a more sustainable and healthier way. So really excited to see how you guys made your sculpture because it looked amazing last year. So
thanks for joining.
Yay.
Sorry, just a few admissions. So shall we get into the meat of it a little bit more? So the initial kind of project that inspired this was a living monoliths, which is a project Maria and I did last summer, and we worked in collaboration with Phytology, which run a nature reserve in Bethnal Green. So they managed to do some remediation and turn like what was quite a disused and polluted site into this little kind of beautiful ecosystem. It has like a little boxes burrow. It's
it's a refuge for species in the city. So there are amphibians and birds and bats, and it's a really beautiful place in the middle of the city.
I recommend you to go there and check the place. Yeah,
definitely. And they were kind enough to give us a little corner to just like work away on, where we kind of just stripped some of the topsoil back, sort of cleared it of all the kind of any kind of broken bits of glass or detritus, and then started using it to form our sculpture, the living monolith, which is the pictures that you've probably all seen related to the workshop. And kind of a starting point, I think, for it was the idea of habitat fragmentation. So it's this idea that pollinators can only have so much range and they can't get across areas where it, like architecture or industrialization of the land has sort of happened. And the same thing happens when in areas of agriculture where there's monocrops. So there's not anything that they can pollinate and kind of essentially refuel. So it means they get stuck to these little zones and it breaks up the country into these little pockets. So we wanted to try and create a project that kind of highlighted this in a visual way, which is like the living monoliths.
Yeah, create some sort of a bridge between these different fragmented habitats. And yeah, from there we got in. There is this organization in UK that it's called the V Lines, and they are already trying to create these lines that connects all these habitats. So then we got in contact with them, and we managed to use the same seeds that they are using for these lines, and kind of like work a bit together and understanding how to create a bit of a nice environment for these pollinators, and like to understand a bit more what plants they need, and yeah, and then we start trying things and creating some material samples, and after that we had the opportunity to develop a bit more in phytology and create that sculpture that you saw.
Yeah,
but yeah, and I would just say that it's still a project that it definitely have to evolve a bit more, and still like in process, but for now we have nice results, but I think we can still push it further and like create a bit, like keep researching and like, yeah, trying more things.
Yeah, so the sculpture at Phytology was our first sort of attempt, our first prototype, and relative success. But I think this also highlighted areas that we want to improve. So I think this is very much like an iterative kind of project, but also because the nature of it, it's quite seasonal, because you have to wait for the seeds when you sort of in an outdoor environment need to be planted at the right time of year to get the best results, which is also something we're kind of like experimenting a bit with.
Yeah, but it's also like another, like super interesting to work when you work for nature. There are lots of things that you can control, and you also have to go a bit be open with what happened in the environment and the weather and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that leads us quite nicely to what we're doing today, which is we always sort of spoke about trying to do a load of workshops around this as well, because I think it's important we can build these sort of like sculptures and sort of like make the point about the issue of habitat fragmentation, but then to actually have an applied impact and try and improve the pollinator bee lines, it takes loads of people to do it. So it's like almost trying to then skill share what we've learned and our experience to try to get people to make these sculptures, so we can get micro meadows from all of these sculptures scattered around people's gardens, and try and actually see if that can make more of an impact. So that's where, hopefully we can get with working with all of you guys.
Yeah. Should we go through?
Yep. So we're gonna screen share now. And
I don't know if you have questions or you want to add anything. Please do. Like, otherwise we keep going and then more. Yeah.
I just have one. You mentioned earlier where the actual location was, but I missed it. Where is the actual location? You said where you've unearthed in the corner of something, in the corner of some area in London. Where was that?
It's next to Bethnal Green.
Bethnal Green, okay, great.
It's London, and it's called Phytology, but you can also find it as Bethnal Green Reservoir. Natural reserve, or yeah, we can write it down. it's worth checking in because they do workshops and they have a whole garden of medical herbs, and so they have like, yeah, they know a lot about medical plants, and I think they also did some, they do compost workshops and sort,
I think they also do community composting as well. So it's like if you live in the area and you need somewhere to compost as well, they can help you out. They're incredibly knowledgeable. They have like whittling courses as well. So it's just really nice community led sort of.
And one of the most beautiful places I've been, I think, in London.
It was really nice to work there. Right, so I think we're just, where is
I think I need to like
Eliza, would you be able to do a screen share of, oh wait, no, I found it, sorry. There we are. Okay, so we've sort of spoken to the Living Monolith project that inspired all of this. And I think quickly as well, because I think someone mentioned the form, I think the way we kind of constructed it was almost just trying to like let the material kind of lead the way. And it was almost how it seemed to want to sit together. And it almost has like this animalistic kind of nature to it as well, where it looks alien but recognizable at the same time. And it's sort of, yeah, it was just quite fun experimenting with the kind of the arches and trying to get the structure of it to work.
We also were thinking about doing a smaller sculpture, and we ended up doing this sculpture that is like almost a bit more than a meter. So we figured out that it was also really heavy when we start putting all these molds together. So it was a bit intense, but we ended up managing to like stand up. But yeah, today we can working a bit in a smaller scale, definitely, because it takes time to do like a big sculpture like that. It took us like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, sort of having to collect all the soil. And again, the weight of it was quite some, like a lot more than we expected. Even with, as you'll see later, we tried to hollow the core to try and help with that, but it still, was still quite substantial.
Yeah, and also when you work with earth or soil or clay, it's also a lot about letting giving time to it, or like letting it dry, but then you have to make sure that it's not too dry. So it's like really like in each environment it changes if it's more wet or if it's more dry or all of this, but it's really like something that you have to keep looking after and see how it's like drying out or.
So again, I think we've sent this out to everyone already, the material list of everything that you'll kind of need to sort of make the piece today. So hopefully you're all familiar with it. And as I said, if you have joined out of interest but don't have the materials, then that's fine as well. But you'll have a copy if you ever wanted to try and do it yourself.
Yeah, I would say if anyone has questions on the material list or like some details that maybe you were wondering, please tell us.
Yeah, happy to answer any questions or emails after this or anything like that. So again, like when it came to the initial sort of digging and collecting of the earth, we were trying to have as small an impact onto the local ecology as possible. And so that we decided to only, rather than digging great big holes that would sort of like change the topography of everything, we went for more of a scraping method. So we were only taking top layers of soil from exposed patches.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting when you work in the urban areas, because in phytology, actually, that soil that we were working was pretty.
Sean and Maria.
Yeah.
The slides aren't changing. You in presentation mode?
Sorry.
Maybe if you just do it if you're coming in from if you're using the Adobe. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, is that better?
So yeah, sorry, maybe just go through those last few slides if you can.
Yeah, it's the material list.
It was the opening page, the material list, and then onto this one. So fortunately, thank you for pointing that out. We haven't missed too much.
But yeah, we saw it was an opportunity for us also to look at the soil in that place and actually realize that it was full of debris and it wasn't that much organic matter, so like the top soil layer. So I think we were thinking about how these sculptures, once they are disintegrating and coming back to the earth, actually bring some more nutrients because they are more richer in compost. So yeah, it was interesting how like also taking all this earth around the area and removing all these debris and waste and things that we found, and then putting that in the sculpture, and then this will come back and
so it kind of comes into that regenerative idea of it as well, that we wanted the soil to be cleaner than when we removed it. So we cleaned it and added nutrients to it.
Exactly.
So hopefully again to try and improve the environment that the sculpture is built in. So step 2, again, it's part of the cleaning process, and it's just sieving the earth. I think it's quite kind of self-explanatory, but it's for that, it's, you don't want to get a sieve that it's too thin, because you want to get the sun in, and otherwise maybe you just get, if it's thinner, then you just get the clay and the finer particles. So then it just makes sure that, for instance, sometimes I use that, but I use it more when I do ceramics, because this one is really thin and it takes a lot of the sand. And if you use that, then maybe you need to find sand and add it to the mix, but we will go. Well, also as well, the thinner you go, the longer it takes. So I think this sort of hole size is already a little bit on the small size. So we would spend hours just sat there, just sort of like digging this thing up and down, trying to get the earth. And it took a while. I think I've made a little custom one here by drilling into the holes, and that's sort of given a lot of control of how we can kind of sift it by literally choosing the hole size, which seems to speed it up a little bit. And then an alternative method, do you want to?
I mean, you can, if it depends on the earth that you collect, but if you collect this earth that is wet, then I recommend you to put it in water. The earth that is wet is because normally it has more clay. So for instance, in London, it has like a massive clay strata, so a lot of clays. If you dig, you're gonna find a lot of clay. So for that, I recommend to put it in water, make it quite liquid, and then once it's liquid, you sieve it. And because otherwise, the other option is to let it dry for a few days, smash out the crumbs, and then sieve it. And then if you put it with water, then I recommend you to have a old fabric cloth like that one, so it removes the water, and you just hang the fabric, or just also like a tote bag. You can just use it, and then you hang it, and then the water goes through the fabric, and the mixture dries out.
So with the piece, we decided to do 2 sort of separate mixtures. So it's but on the inside mixture, which is like the core kind of material that's being used, it's normally just the earth and then adding the water to get it to the kind of correct consistency. And I think as well, here is a point, depending on where you are in the world, or like which sort of region you are and what kind of soil you have, I think generally with the soil, you have silts, sands, and clay as like your 3 main components. And the ratios of these can really impact on how you can actually work with the soil. So sometimes, and I think this is also one of the added benefits of adding compost, which we do in the other mix, but if you have a clay heavy soil, adding compost can actually kind of help make up for that kind of that silt and sandy sort of not the sand, but the silt lacking, and give you a more workable material. And then we use the kind of the natural fibers, so the thin natural fibers, as like a reinforcement as well. So it's almost like an adobe sort of like you can use in so a very primitive mud construction.
Yeah. Yeah, like we recommend to use straw, and like right now it's a really good moment to collect all these natural fibers because it's winter and everything it's dry, like all the plants are dried now. But for the mixture, make sure that you use some sort of dry plants that look like a straw, because otherwise yeah, like it didn't work out when we put like thicker plants inside in the mix. So yeah, just make sure that it has more like a straw texture or thinness. Yeah. And yeah, for like we start this, so let's go through this.
Yeah.
We say that we created 2 mixtures, and it was because when we start making samples, we were putting the seeds already in, like we just did like 1 mixture and then we put the seeds on it. And what happened is that we were losing a lot of, like the seeds that were in the middle of the mold weren't able to go through it and like grow. So just the few seeds that were on the outside. So that's why we decided to make 2 mixtures, one that was like more heavy in earth and like sand, and the other one that it was richer in compost, so more like the organic matter and with seeds. And here in the illustration you can see what I'm saying, that it has like empty in the middle with some natural fibers, and then the mixture that doesn't have seeds and it's richer in the minerals, so like sand, clay and silt, and then the other mixture that it's richer in compost and that has seeds.
I think this is also an opportunity, and this is part of our experimentation as well. And I think with the kind of the dried fiber core, the concept behind this was, as I sort of alluded to earlier, it's trying to remove some of that heavy mass, but without kind of making it too structurally weak. So trying to get rid of a little bit of that kind of like core. But then the other factor is we found that because you've removed all of this sort of soil from the earth, and then you've kind of put it into an area where it has a large surface area exposed to both sunlight and air. So it actually dries out incredibly quickly. So we were kind of hoping that we could create like a wicking system in the center of the bricks. The idea being that if the water would be able to get to it, the natural dry fibers would be able to hold on to that water and then act as like a sponge and like release it back into the soil. Again, I think we need to fine tune this a little bit, but I think it's helped a bit, but I think there's room.
The thing is that we ended up closing the sculpture, so there was any way that we could pour water in the middle of the sculpture, if that makes sense. So I think next time, if we do a sculpture, maybe we leave some areas that you can put water inside the sculpture, so it keeps moisture. Because we did some samples in the studio that we could water from the inside, and they work really well. So we do think it has potential, the idea of like putting the natural fibers in the middle, and like, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So again, like a good example of the kind of the natural fibers you're going for, anything that just looks dry and fibrous, and yeah. We have we can.
Well, we are.
Yeah. So this is kind of a new technique we've been working with, and especially I think it works quite well for the scale of today's workshop.
Yeah, just like using with this idea that in the middle has the natural fiber, just use the fibers actually to make the shape, and then you just cover these different structures with the mixture, and I think it's pretty nice to do it like that, because otherwise the mixture, when you make the mixture, it's really wet, so it's really hard to make any sort of shape. So if you have a structure inside, it's just easier to add the mixture and make a bit of a nicer shape, or yeah.
And I think as well, this can be done with sort of the thinner natural fibers if you have enough of them, or you can sort of save your thinner natural fibers and use sort of a thicker, almost like sticks, like kind of almost like a willow or something, and begin to sort of like weave it.
Yeah.
Some of the test examples that Maria made recently, sort of testing this new kind of technique. And then the second process, so the one that we used for the living monoliths project that we did, where we were trying to create large cylindrical kind of bricks. Our first mold was, as you can see, is quite an ad hoc mold that we made for this one. But the next was a little bit more kind of constructed. So for this, it was literally just a hexagon made using just some bits of scrap wood, and then it's a two-part molds and then held together with the fabric. So we made a few of these and we'd take them out onto site, and we would just sort of make all the mixture, make the kind of the core mixture, throw that into these sort of molds, and then once it was sort of drying out a little bit, we'd start then coring or decoring the center, and then put the fibers in before releasing it all from the mold.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you do put the mixture and then you put out the mold, it normally fall.
Yeah, it slumps.
It slumps, yeah.
Yeah, you want something, again, using wood was useful because it allows it to sort of draw some of the moisture out from the mold, and you probably have to leave it for about 20 minutes at least to get that moisture out enough that it will hold its shape once you release it. And yeah, there's a sort of
question.
Yeah. Sure.
Have you tried using like thicker branches or in order to, or like with the logic of using branches to do like a previous structure and then kind of starting to cover it would make sense? Or do you think you need like a smaller fiber inside that core?
We did talk about using like a thicker wood to make a larger structure, and I think if you're trying to make something that's structurally stronger, having that kind of wooden skeleton is probably necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually that would be our next step, to try to make as you saw these small pieces that I made. So the idea is to probably bring this a bit bigger, and definitely it will be something that helps, because it was really hard for us to keep all together when it was getting higher, because we started stacking all these molds on top of each other, and we were using the other mixture, the seed mixture, to basically stack them together and cover to make another layer to hold them together. But yeah, there were moments of a lot of anxiety where like Sean and me were like, holding the structure so it didn't fall. And
the days we spent trying to join the four pillars together was nerve-wracking, and there were a few days where we almost lost it, but but it managed to get through it. Again, like the drawback as well to using more of a wooden structure underneath is it won't really help with any of the wicking or the moisture, so you'd have to find another like solution for the moisture. So that is a big challenge on these kind of things, is just keeping it the right sort of, keeping it wet enough so that the seeds are all happy, but dry enough that it doesn't collapse.
Exactly.
Because it's these sculptures are designed to sort of dissolve back into nature. They're designed to be weathered, but they need time to actually grow before they then weather. So it's like that kind of, you're a constant balancing act between trying to get it to dissolve, but also remain long enough that seeds can take hold.
And again, I think that's what's interesting about making two mixtures, because you can let it dry the inside mixture, and then have the outside a bit like way more wet and like moisture.
There's a few questions, Sean and Maria, coming into the chat. Sylvia has a question.
Sorry, we didn't have the chat up.
That's fine. So Sylvia asks, so at this stage, the living sculpture will have an expiry date when the straw finally decomposes?
Yeah, so we're just sort of scrolling up for it.
That's
so,
the last one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So the idea is like the straw should decompose once the straw should outlive the sculpture. So it's the idea is that you want the sculpture to collapse, but you just don't want it to collapse too early. So I think the way we envisioned it is we'd build these sort of like weird, bizarre kind of like monolithic kind of sculptures out of the mud. And then slowly as they're eroded and weathered, like the seeds would all grow, it'd become green, like this sort of image we have on the screen at the moment. And then it would eventually kind of erode and become like a new micro meadow, and then kind of spread out and kind of fill up the space. And then each year kind of like grown, it would become a legacy meadow to the area. So hopefully eventually the straw and stuff would decompose into the ground as well and feed the meadow.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is quite like a cob construction. I think as again, we're trying to get that balance of structural integrity without kind of going too far. So it's like that very much that the balance between, again, like human intervention and nature, and trying to sort of almost like shepherd it the way we want it to go, but without being too like invasive to it.
Yeah. I don't think that.
So just checking for any other questions. But yeah, so I think we've kind of we've spoken to it a fair amount, but the conservation and care is probably one of the quite challenging aspects of this project.
Yeah. Yeah, with the sculpture we made in Phytology, it was a bit too late. So it was also when we had the heat wave in London, and Sean and me were quite busy. So we just watering like 2 times a week wasn't enough. So it ended up drying quite fast and yeah, disintegrating actually quite fast. I think we think the foxes basically were playing with it. So now it's disintegrated in the earth, and we want to see if actually this spring some of the seeds bloom, like grow. So hopefully something more happens even after what we did. But yeah, basically you need to water it every day. For now, if you're building it right now, we recommend it to have it indoors, or if you have a garden with a shed, that would be super ideal. But important to have it in a place that is not too dry, so not near the heating or not. And it doesn't need like direct light for the seeds to start growing. So yeah,
I think it's just moisture control is like the key aspect. So it just takes a lot of like upkeep. So again, the advantage of having it in like your home or place of work would mean that you can kind of keep an eye on it. And I think for this workshop, the idea is see how well we can grow things inside, and then come springtime, you can transplant it out into an outdoor environment. At least, hopefully that's all good.
It would be really, really nice if you guys do make them, and like we keep updating each other of how they grow and what's happening, and
and especially if you start seeing like any pollinators come along as well, like capture that as well. So I think that kind of covers the whole project. Are there any questions? And then we'll kind of go back to the start and just get making, if not, but.
Have you considered using different kinds of seeds for different purposes? I mean, like flowers, for example, for pollinators, or maybe like even could it work using herbs, or like having different types of sculptures for different purposes?
Yeah, so when we spoke to someone from Beelines who gave us a lot of advice on like the seeds and sort of environments, and I think he was sort of highlighting that you want to custom the piece as much as possible to your local environment. So we're going after pollinators, hence why we wanted all the wildflower seeds. But I think you could also equally grow, if there's a particular food that like an insect or an animal in that habitat likes, you could have that as like the seed that you stock it with. One example he gave us is like there's a place in Thetford where there's like a rare species of beetle that you can't really find elsewhere in England. And he was suggesting making a custom version of this for a roundabout for that beetle. So you could try and attract the beetle to this little like micro habitat on a roundabout.
Yeah, I think that's actually something really important to take in consideration when you build these sculptures to ask if you know anyone that knows around the sort of species that you have around, and like the plants that you can also bring there. Before doing this sculpture, we asked phytology. We showed the seeds that we had, and we just made sure that they were compatible, or like that they were not gonna put in danger other species, or that they were basically gonna help.
Yeah. I guess it's sort of like the potential of this. It's so beautiful that you can kind of adapt or make them unique to whatever environment you're putting them in, or yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Thanks.
And seeing Carol's comment, many of the perennial plants have large roots which probably rip the structure apart. That is a very valid point as well. So it's like maybe thinking of like root structures and systems and how well they'll work in response to the form that you kind of create with these sculptures. But I think for us, I quite like the idea that the roots are partly responsible for tearing it apart. I feel that's, for me, I quite enjoy that it's not just the weathering, it's also the plants themselves. And then hopefully they can, I mean, the idea is once it then does fall apart, they can reroot on the ground around. So it's almost like a temporary home for them.
Yeah, I have to say that I think the plants that has large roots it will be hard for them to survive. Like it's something that, because we haven't been able to take care for any sculpture for now for that long period. We don't know if they would, but like I think plants with smaller roots will survive more easily, like the grass and all of these.
And I think this is also an area we hope to experiment with more as well. So like once we get the next sort of spring, summer season coming through, we can start playing around a bit more. Also with different sort of soils. So if you're from, say, different areas in the world, I did an earth battery workshop with the narratives of soil before, and we started realizing that the soil type was actually making a big impact on whether or not the earth batteries would work. So again, that's why I think when we had the clay rich soils, they needed the compost to sort of like alter it so that they could actually function. So I think, again, it depends on, you need, I think, a local knowledge of the area to be able to figure out how best to approach it. So I think with all of these kind of things, it is very much based around the place, and you have to sort of act in response to the location.
I think once you start touching soil, I mean, a lot of you know about soil and also work with ceramics, but I think it's something that when you start feeling the texture and you start trying these different mixtures, you kind of feel what's a good balance and mixture and texture. So yeah, it's like something that you can easily perceive.
I've got a quick question. Well, not a question, more of a comment. It's really beautiful. I also really love the structures. They kind of look like these like tendrils, these fingers, these hands, and that's like a slightly like a human like response or way to like make this thing beautiful for humans, right? But like if we were like wanting to make these last, which I know you've said the beauty is in the transience of it or the ephemerality, but it's more like why you've got this like the kind of what single cast form in a way, but like a kind of mound or a barrow would make the most sense to make it last the longest. That's kind of what I'm conceptualizing in my back garden now. I'm going to go start making this giant mound like 1.5 meters high, because it'd be quite funny, wouldn't it, having this giant mound covered in flowers in your garden? But of course it wouldn't degrade. And I was just more wondering, like, was there like a structural reason why you decided to make them so precarious, apart from of course aesthetics? Just wondered.
I think the aesthetics is kind of the reason, but not for the normal reason of aesthetics. It's more to create something that's striking in the landscape, and that would actually elicit a response and a reaction, and would stand out and would catch the eye and seems odd, but also at home. So again, it's that idea of it belonging and not belonging at the same time, to almost like kind of capture the attention.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really beautiful. Thanks.
Right. Shall we start getting hands in? I think that could be really nice. I think like one idea as well, we kind of like loosely spoke about, but we haven't attempted, is like doing more traditional bricks and then using the seed mixture as like a weird cob cladding on top of that. But I'm not sure if the structural integrity would be a bit concerning, but I'm sure it can be done properly. I think maybe let's go back to the start. And for those of you who've kind of got the materials or want to kind of get hands-on, yeah, we can kind of begin the making section.
We have water here.
Yes, a little bit there.
Have any of you find materials or like as thinking about making it right now with us?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Can onion skin work as my fiber?
Can I? So it's like, yeah, dry. Wait, sorry. I moved it. Wait. Is it dry? I haven't tried it actually, but I think it's so with the fibers. What you want is that they kind of like do like a weaving between the clay, so it helps the earth and the clay to stay together. Otherwise, it's easy to break down, you know. So I think when you're looking for fibers, you want longer ones, so they kind of like hold the clay together. So I haven't tried it, but I would say maybe it's not the best, but maybe you should try it and tell us how it works. Like, I think.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I also have a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
I collected these Acer, I don't know, like stems.
Wait, if you, I just wanna, because I can see you very well. I just need to stop sharing the screen.
Oh, maybe it's
or
like the
oh yeah, I can see now.
Yeah, sticks. But do you think I need to mix them with straw as well, or fiber, or just those will be okay?
I think those are gonna be good for making the weaving, so more like the structure.
Yeah.
More
okay.
Than yeah.
Also, can you use like fresh grass or only dry material?
Dry, because otherwise it roots in the mixture. So
okay.
Yeah, so you kind of, yeah, you want to dry to.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Oops.
You're welcome. Okay.
So I think, yeah, we'll kind of go through the steps, and I think if there's any kind of questions, like please, we'll stop sharing the screen so we can kind of see you a bit better.
Yeah, there's more chats. There's more questions coming in the chat as well. Elsa asks, she says she has quite short straw. Would that work?
It'll work, but not as well. I think the longer fibers are better, but it does, if it's short,
show us.
Yeah, maybe how short?
I can see you. Maybe you can show us what you got.
And also, Kaya, yes, we are recording, so that will be available. I'll send that out afterwards.
Yeah, I think that works also.
Yeah, because we have some fibers that are quite short like that. and then verses are longer ones. So we've kind of got a weird mix. So like first thing, you guys, and this will be depending on how much or the kind of materials everyone has, this will probably go at different rates. So I think it will just be quite, yeah, any questions, we'll just sort of like move along slowly with it. But I think first is, ours is relatively filtered already, so we haven't really got any stones or anything in it, but it's just a case of getting the sieve over one bucket and just sifting it all through.
Where did you get this earth from?
This is left over from earth batteries. So I think it's a mix, it's a bit of a mix of compost and soil already.
So I don't know if you, for the ones that maybe hasn't worked with soil before, if you dig the earth, first you find the organic matter, and after that you find clay, and well, clay mixed with probably sand and silt. I don't know if any of you got some earth and had some questions and is not sure about what if the earth you have it's gonna work. I don't know, maybe you can try to show us or feel free to ask us. This one is like super like high-end organic matter, I feel.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it could probably actually use a bit of sand and clay, to be honest.
Yeah, do you have some?
Yeah, I'll probably add some. Yeah, so this is super organic. I think it needs a bit more.
Hi, may I just ask a couple of questions? Like, are there easy ways to test if the soil is good? So, for example, we know there's lots of contaminated earth in various parts of London. I know, for example, in phytology, they had to deal with all of that contaminated earth first.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of conscious of like finding a spot and saying, oh, this earth is good if it's potentially, I don't know, I'm not very literate, but you know, too acidic or it's got too many pollutants in it. Are there kind of things that we can look out for, or does it not matter so much?
I think like it's something definitely interesting to look at, but at the same time, as far as you don't use these plants to eat or to feed you, I don't think it should be like a massive problem. I don't think I don't think you're gonna find an earth that it's like highly polluted that is gonna damage the plants or anything. It's more about eating them or not. And I think in phytology was a problem because they were doing the medical garden. So that's definitely something to make sure that you tested before. But yeah, I know that there are some places that you can basically send soil samples and test the pollution. I think there are some organizations in London that do it for free. We can look for some and maybe send it to you. But
yeah, no, that's a really good point, because as long as you're not using it to grow food and medicinal herbs, it's slightly less of a worry. No, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we were super lucky that phytology had already done all that hard work.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you have a hammer?
Yeah,
maybe
it's going to get a bit loud. I've also got those for rolling things.
So here what we're doing is, because we got really like organic earth. It's like really not heavy and like really like you can feel that it's basically doesn't have any minerals. What Sean is doing is like cracking some clay, just like clay that he had in the workshop. So he's like smashing the crumbs and adding it to the mixture. But yeah, then also we will add also some sand. Yeah.
I want to mute this for a second because it's quite loud. Unmuted.
I don't know how everyone is doing with the sieving the earth, but while Sean is like preparing the clay, I was gonna start working with the fibers and just to make maybe like a shape. Should I wait for people to like, is people still working with the earth or?
Maria,
yes,
I had a question. At what point do you put the abono in the soil, or do you like, or is that not necessary if the soil's like fairly wet? Does that make sense?
So you're working with the wet soil, no?
Well, it's kind of damp, but it's not too bad. Hang on, maybe I can show you.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
So I would say, is there a lot of stones, you think? Because maybe you can just use it and you don't. Did you see it already?
Yeah, that's sieved. I've
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, like now you can add some water.
Okay.
But go slowly adding water without like don't rush, because you don't want to get the mixture too wet. And maybe what I will do is, if you have 2 buckets, separate the earth you have into buckets, so you can do 2 mixtures. And this is for everyone. So like separate the earth that you collected into buckets.
I've got another bucket of earth that I haven't sieved yet.
Okay.
And this is the stuff that I have sieved. So I'll put this into 2 buckets.
Yeah, I would say now for this hour, yeah, like separate these 2, and then maybe later you can sieve a bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, if you can separate it, and we're gonna do one that has more compost and it has the seeds, and another one that just have earth and straw.
Cool. Great.
So yeah, once you separate it, I would say add like if it's just like a bit less than half of the bucket, I would say that you can add like couple of how is it?
A handful of straw.
A handful of straw, like a couple of then slowly add water and mix and do keep like moving it.
I think with the mix, as much you reasonably measurements, because again it varies on soil or what your kind of the moisture level you're working with. But you kind of have to do it by eye. You just want it to be almost like a kind of a doughy soil that's just sort of malleable, workable, but yeah, you don't want it too wet or too dry. Just something that you can easily work.
I would say for the people that is working with earth that has a lot of clay, maybe it's your case, Elsa. It looks quite like it doesn't look like it has a lot of sun, and so I don't know if you have access to any sun that maybe you can add, or otherwise just add also some compost, because otherwise it's going to be really heavy, the mixture. So maybe you want to add some compost also in both mixtures.
Hiya, Maria and Sean.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Could you maybe stay off mute because it can feel very quiet?
Oh, I know. It's just like
So I was hammering. So
oh, because you're hammering. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing the weaving right now, and I basically do like the 3 threads, and like I get like 2 of the fibers and like just like, you know, as the hair, how you call it, the hair,
like braiding.
Yeah.
Braiding.
I'm not sure whether my soil or earth is this the right soil to use? Can you see? It's black.
I think okay.
Yes,
that looks really good. So
and I've got tea waste as my compost. Do I mix them together?
Yes, and they have, I would say, if you can do for the 2 mixtures. So in one mixture, you add a bit of compost, and the other one you add almost like half, 50 and 50. 50
Okay.
compost, 50 earth, even a bit more of compost than earth. So I don't know if you can separate it, if you have enough. And do you have the natural fibers, like the straw, or you are planning to use the onion?
I do. I'm not sure whether this looks right.
Okay, so for the structure,
yeah,
you don't need to put the thinner fibers.
Okay.
However, it looks really nice. Like I think you can keep it, but you don't. We were not gonna put it now in here.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, like it makes sense. Like what you did. It's also, we also put the straw inside to keep. But when we put the straw inside the mold, it was to keep it moisturized. Sorry. And now what I'm doing with this structure is just like create a structure so I can shape some sort of I can give it a shape. So I'm gonna cover this in the mixture, in the clay mixture.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like rolling pins.
Wow. Well done. Wait, see maybe?
Or do we want it in straight in there and then?
Yeah, I think you have too much compost there. Like
straight in here then?
Yeah, I would say so. Otherwise, you're not gonna even fit it.
Clay dust. Should have had a mask on.
How is everyone getting along? Do you have a charger? Because I think it's.
Ooh, yes. That looks a bit better actually. Sorry.
Something that me and Sean also normally do is writing down every time that we try some we try to make a mold or like a sculpture, to write down a bit what sort of earth did you collect it and how. So if you put 50% of earth and 50% of compost, and if that earth had a lot of sand or a lot of clay, and if you like to know a bit, to keep on track what sort of mixtures you are you are doing, and that's helpful because it gives you reference for each time also. What is it?
I was thinking this one's starting to look all right, but maybe we just use this mixture more for the outer mixture.
Yeah.
And then we just maybe I'll do one more round of clay.
Yeah, they have
the core.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can start. It's starting to look better. It's starting to look paler. One more.
Okay, we're gonna mute a moment for the clay.
Just for the hammer. Don't use too much of that. I've got to dry a load more on this out actually. So 2 barrels are filled with it.
Is this river clay?
Yeah. And if I've got those samples up in the corner that I made from it, but they're not very well made. I need to redo them.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that hidden in that thing. Yeah.
Whilst Sean and Maria are muted, does anyone else want to show us how they're getting on? I'm curious.
You want to
Greg, I can just see your coat. I want to, yeah, great.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Who's that? Marilla and Kaya, your video seems to be coming in and out.
You?
Oh, hello. We can see you.
Okay, the thing is our internet is pretty bad, so it's kind of lagging, but we wanted to ask if this looks like a right consistency. Wait.
Oh, Maria, you're on mute if you're
Can you show me again?
Yes.
It looks like a lot of clay, right? Because it's really like sticky, right?
Yeah, it's pretty sticky.
Cool. I think in terms of in terms of fibers, it looks good. And I don't know if you have some sand, but I will definitely add some sand if you have.
Yes, we have. I can get that. Okay.
So I will, yeah, like I would add 1 glass of sand. Sorry, it's not like really precise. But just add like with your hand, maybe like a couple of hand sand, and then you will see that it gets less stick together and it will be easier to work. And maybe also add some tiny bit of water so it's not so sticky, and yeah, tiny bit but not much. Where did you get the clay from? Somewhere?
Ah, sorry, I thought we were muted. Actually, the soil, I got it from our garden. It was just sitting in a wheelbarrow and we didn't have much time. So I don't know where the soil is from. Here, I guess from the garden. And yeah, that's about it. Because when we go for clay, we have different specific spots where we know it's way more clay. So yeah, I don't know.
And the compost we make.
The compost is from our garden as well.
Well done. Where is the garden in Barcelona?
In Colserola. We are in the Colserola Park near. There's a restaurant nearby. It's called Green Leca Can Valdaura.
Yeah, I think I've been around there.
So we are in a masía called Valdaura, and yeah, it's where the students live, and we have a garden.
Wow.
And yeah, we build some structures here. Yeah, it's
So
very nice.
Super nice to come and see.
Yes, you are very welcome.
We're already thinking about how we can do a kind of like, maybe workshop like this with our students and incorporate you guys, or.
Yeah,
I think it would be super nice to do it in real life, because you can actually talk a bit more about the texture of the soil and like show a bit more what's, like how it looks like the different soils, and have like a nicer conversation around soil. And
for sure. Yeah, we also had someone working with the bees here. We have some beehives, and yeah, we were also thinking to talk with this person, and maybe how could we, thinking at the property scale, like how could we maybe select certain spots in the property and try to create this network of sculptures.
Yeah, definitely. Actually,
yeah.
When we started thinking about this project, we were looking a lot at beehives, like more like primitive beehives, because they are made with local materials and using also natural fibers and mud. And so I think, that I have like a book that is like an archive of beehives, and you see really beautiful pieces of art. And it's also this idea of designing for the environment and the fishes more than the humans, no?
Super nice. Well, we have this class here. It's a class where the students are managing the garden. It's called Ecological Interactions, and now the name is Agroecology. And we were thinking on ways to maybe incorporate this as part of the class, and maybe have the students come up with maybe different ideas or different uses for these sculptures. We don't know yet. We are kind of talking about it as we go.
Yeah.
But it would be super nice. And also, if you're around Spain, you are.
I'm from Barcelona.
Okay, perfect.
Come visit.
I just came back from there, so it's a shame that I didn't meet you before. I arrived from Barcelona like 3 days ago.
Okay, and are you over there for a long time?
Yeah, but I'm coming to Barcelona a lot, so.
Okay.
So
well, definitely we have to keep talking.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, when also making the sculpture, we were thinking about making sure that we were facilitating insects or bees or whatever to live in there. So we were thinking about also creating some sort of holes in the sculpture, so there could be some nests for insects, or I think from that idea you can evolve in a lot of different shades, and like try to see how, like, by shaping and like giving different materials recipes, it can, like some species will like more than others, or like you will attract more some sort of species than others. So it's something interesting to research also.
I think with those ones as well, we wanted it to be the sculptures would need to last longer, because we wouldn't want the insects to then create homes in the sculptures for it to then disintegrate within a month or two. So it'd be more of a structurally sound sculpture that would try and incorporate insect holes.
Yeah, again, trying to find this balance between keeping the structure long enough so things grow in it, and also
Okay.
don't know if it was enough sun. I think it's a bit more, like it seems like it'll hold better now. I don't know. I
start making the mixture with the
Yeah, I'll start adding water and stuff.
maybe some sun also.
I don't.
Sorry, is this okay? I've already add on the compost and the earth all together.
Okay, so it looks good, but as you say, as you see, it breaks quite easily. I think that if you add a bit more water, then you have a good mixture for the seed mixtures.
Okay.
For the inside structure, maybe you would need a bit more of natural fibers that make like these sort of things. And maybe, I don't know if you have more earth, that it might have a bit more of clay, because the one that you're showing me, it's breaking quite easily, and I think that's because it has maybe too much compost or organic matter, or like, so maybe if you add more earth and straw, it will stay together a bit better.
Okay.
However, I think, sorry.
I've got this soil. I mean, it's just right in front of my house, and I'm not sure it has the clay texture enough to hold this soil. So what if I don't have clay with me?
So if you don't have clay with you, first of all, I think any earth that you find in front of you will, let you do the sculpture, even if it doesn't have a lot of clay. I would say if the mixture is not responding as you want, you can work just smaller. So like, for instance, if you do this and you cover it with the mixture that you have, I don't think it matters that it doesn't have a lot of clay, because you already have like a shape and you're just basically covering it.
Okay.
And I think you will see that easily it sticks together.
All right.
I think the problem is when you want to start making the shape a bit more like more of a complex shape, that you will struggle because it won't keep together. But like, I think if you work in a smaller scale, you should be able to
I'll try and keep it small for now.
Like, I think if you don't have more soil right now, just try to add more fibers, and you will see that, and a bit more water, and you will see that it keeps together.
All right.
Maria.
Yes.
Hi. So okay. So I've got the one mixture which is kind of wet.
Nice. Good.
And this is, I think it's quite clay, but
it is. It really looked like a good adobe.
Yeah.
No. Did you add some sand to it, or just straw and the earth that you collected?
This is straw, earth, and a little bit of compost.
Okay, cool. Again, if you have some sand, maybe I would add a bit of sand. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't have it, let's just go for it. But
I mean, I could add a bit more of the earth, which is quite sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. And then this is the other mixture, but I haven't added water to this. Do you need water in this one?
Yeah, you need water in this one, and actually the seed mixture, it can be even more wet, so it can be more liquid. So you need this one a bit thicker, so it keeps together, and the other one, it can be more liquid, because it just to cover the other mixture.
Okay, so if I make this one more liquidy and then this one with the seeds.
And I will add more compost to the one on the right.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be for seeds?
Yeah.
Okay, so so this one's more liquid, and then this one is more compost and less liquid for the seeds.
More compost and more liquid. Yeah.
Okay, more liquid and more compost. Okay,
Yeah.
and then so this is the outer layer, or is which? I'm confused.
Okay, so sorry. Left is on the left. Yeah. This one is the inside.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And there's no seeds.
Yeah.
And the one on the right is more liquid and seeds.
Cool.
And what I was gonna say also is that you have quite a lot.
Yeah.
For the seed mixture, you actually don't need as much same quantity. So maybe you can put a bit of this mixture on the left side.
Okay, great. Cool.
Okay,
Thanks.
we have a question.
It looks super good. Well done.
Okay, so we used some branches,
yeah,
for as our structure, and we covered them in the straw and some like hemp twine we had. And then we're wondering, like right now, the parts that are underneath are kind of, they want to fall down.
Okay.
Because suspended. Yeah, because it's not too dry, and we're wondering if we could incorporate some of these
fibers.
Yes, but I don't know if this somehow is not completely biodegradable. Yeah.
Maybe you could try. Like I'm thinking that maybe it's interesting. I'm not completely sure. Like I think maybe you can add in one of the legs to see what happened.
Yeah.
But it might actually. So you think about covering it with this and then adding the other mixture, right?
Yeah, or maybe I don't know if like blow drying it a little bit or something, because it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, you have a air dry, and just give it a bit of a go. Don't dry too carefully.
Do you have it here? No.
Sorry, I'm You guys are faster than us. You haven't even get the water in there.
There's all that clay.
Nice.
Then annoyingly, I found a jar of clay already broken up.
Oh, I think we have to add a bit.
Yeah, we need some of it because this is quite not quite right. Oh, yeah. Some sand would be nice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's annoying this takes so long to dry break.
Yeah.
Getting that. Slowly.
It has like a really intense smell, these ones.
Yeah. I mean,
Madam, is it holding together?
Wait, what? Sorry?
Is it holding together, or you think it's like?
Yes, it just needs time, I think. A little bit of time.
Yeah, definitely. It always, everything needs a bit of time. But be careful in drying it too much, because then it's also like, yeah, like it gets hard, and but
Okay.
yeah.
It's the struggle, the constant struggle of patience and wanting to get it done.
I know.
can you pass me that, or can you hold the sieve just over? So I want to get rid of big bits. I think we're nearly there with this mixture.
So I think I will add a bit more of this.
Yeah, it's up to you. I was doing it slowly because I didn't want it clumping. Oh, it doesn't break down into that. I breathe so much of this in.
Really?
That should do for now. Yeah. Thank you. Oh. Yeah, looks fine. Just the big bits. I didn't want that. Yeah, it's starting to get somewhere.
Maybe show it.
So yeah, this is the this is the sort of consistency you kind of want when you can start like forming it quite easily. I think you're all ahead of us at the moment, but yeah, there it is. Right, should we start putting it on? Actually going to grab one of the boards to check the rest of it.
We have a quick question about our compost. So our compost is a bit like, what would you say? It's like full of sticks and other fibers. So we're wondering, should we somehow sift it a little bit, or do you think having those fibers in there is okay?
I would say that they are like fibers. I think you want them there, like this. Like I would say, maybe take them off. If they're more like thin ones, then they are fine. Again, we also put some straw and thin ones in the outside mixture.
Right. You do want to do that, and I'll start in a second. I don't need this much for the second.
is anyone working with mold, making a mold that needs any advice? Or because I could see that a lot of us doing it with the fiber structure. I guess that the mold takes also time to prepare it to. So okay.
Is that all good?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's this mixture like needs a bit more clay, but why? Because we're working with that, it's kind of okay.
A bit more. I've got some clay as well if we need it.
Are you making the other one?
Yeah.
Cool.
Spending a little bit of.
We haven't say how many seeds we were adding, but basically for half of this bucket, for the seed mixture, for something like a half of the bucket, we will add a glass full of seeds. So yeah, like half bucket with half of a full seeds. That's quite a lot. Not everyone has the same quantity. We just bought like how many grams were? Like a pack of like maybe like a kilo of seeds, a seed mixture already from.
Kilogram.
Show me.
It's got holes in it, but.
So yeah, that's right. We got like all of that. So we were just like getting a full glass of it. I don't know what did you do with the seeds, but you can also add grass on it. And the grass seeds are more abundant. So in this mixture, we got a mixture. So yeah, that's why also it's because if you get like the flower seeds, yeah, it's like you can see that it's not like a lot of quantity. So maybe you got like 30 seeds of flowers, but it's just like tiny bit. So it's like more the grass seeds that occupy the most.
Yeah, they also grow easier, so they take better.
Should the outer, like the seed mix be a bit more moist?
Yeah.
Than the other?
Yeah, yeah, definitely it will help.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit more moist and more compost.
Yeah.
Okay, have a look. Okay, I think this is ready.
More or less, what thickness is the outer layer?
We were doing like 1-2 centimeters, I guess, for a small sculptures with one centimeter at least for sure, but
okay,
maybe more because now it's quite wet. Maybe you're gonna struggle making it thicker.
Yeah,
but maybe you can also wait a bit adding it if you are not in a rush today. Maybe you can add it in the afternoon.
Okay.
If you see that it's not holding together, you know. So right now the one I have, it's quite wet and I can see that
yeah,
holding together, but it's ideally I will wait an hour or two, depends on if the place that you are is quite dry. So it sticks together and holds together. So maybe I need to get more water. But...
Yeah.
I'll have a cup.
Eliza messaged.
You want me to get some water?
Yeah, kitchen's just down the end.
On the right?
Down left and then left again. Or left at the very end.
Oh, we are mid. Is everyone okay? Good.
So this, is this too like crumbly for the outer mix?
Yeah. This is for the inside, you say?
The outside.
The outside. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would maybe add some straw if you have.
Yeah, I
It
do have
gives-
some.
Yeah, it will
I'd quite like to.
it will keep it a bit more together. And I would say even make it even a bit more wet.
Yeah.
So when you add it, you kind of like make the layer, you know, because right now you have it in a way that it's kind of like keeping together, but what you want is like you have the structure and what you want is cover it. So you want it quite wet, so it's like easily slide like, yeah, in the structure, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like covering it with butter in some way.
Yeah, battering with soil. Oh, nice. Okay.
Exactly.
Nice. All right.
But it looks a really nice soil actually.
Yeah, it's really nice here.
Where is it?
South London soil.
Yeah.
Loughborough Junction, Camberwell.
Okay, nice. My studio is in South Bermondsey.
Oh, nice, nice.
And I also use the soil in there.
Yeah, it's nice. This garden nuts. It used to be a Victorian park, and then they built this Victorian house on it. So it's like this giant garden. You can't get to it throughout. Like you can kind of see how big it is. It's like,
wow, it's amazing.
It's like goes all the way to the back there. That's like a climbing wall. There, it's mad. It's huge.
It's super nice. And this is communal?
Say again?
Is this communal or is your?
No, it's not. It's just us. You can't get to it like apart from through our house.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts because it used to be a park, so it's like all the other Victorian houses back onto it. So there's loads of like old growth trees in it. These trees are they're like 200 years old chestnuts and stuff. It's really nice.
It's super nice. We should. Well, if you want to make a bigger sculpture, maybe we can come and help you.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone also wants to garden, we've got loads of beds.
Oh, nice.
Underutilized. So London, call out to communal gardening.
We should do like well, we will in some way try to find a way to keep in touch with all of you guys, so we can also, if anyone needs help, or like also we can show how it's evolving, and yeah, we can keep connected.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe I'll look into starting some kind of WhatsApp group or something to share all the photos of these sculptures as they grow and keep everyone connected.
So the other sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in Camberwell too, Greg.
Oh, nice.
Really close right now. It would be really nice to do a like hybrid, half live, half online.
Yeah.
Something next.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, no, it's nice. The other thing I was thinking is that my seed mix says it shouldn't be sown outside until March.
Yeah.
So do I bring it inside or do I?
Yeah. Do you have a shed by any chance in the garden?
No, I have a fish tank that we use as like a germinator.
Okay.
So it's like a more like a glass house, I guess, a really small one.
Maybe if it's not too big, maybe you can put it there for a bit.
Yeah.
Does the light goes through?
Yeah, I mean right now I get sunlight, but in the summer it doesn't get any sunlight here because of all of the big trees. It's sad.
Maybe I would try to put it there and see if, I don't know, I imagine that it will be less cold than outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so our sculpture completely fell to the ground.
Sorry?
I guess with the weight. First it was like a relatively low curved branch, and now it's just like a flat branch.
I know what you mean. Maybe put the camera a bit lower so we can see the. Yeah, mine is also happening in mine.
I think I cannot even lift it. It needs to dry.
Yeah, it needs to dry. It definitely needs to dry. Maybe actually it didn't have that much clay, no? Now that I get to add more clay, it will stay together.
I'm thinking maybe the last mix, like the outer layer mix, had maybe too much water.
Okay, because you already put it the out.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I mean, for everyone, I think if you can leave it for a couple of hours before putting the outside mix, it will, yeah, it's better. So you make sure that the sculpture doesn't collapse.
Yeah, we can do that with this one again.
Maria.
And then we have this more experimental one.
Hey, and so.
Hi. How this is like a really silly question, but how do you get to the bottom of the sculpture? So like, hang on. So like, how do you get underneath?
Super nice. Can you turn so you cannot?
It's really heavy.
It's very heavy. Okay, so because I can do it, like, but maybe you had to do it a bit less heavy.
Right.
Otherwise,
it's quite fragile too, I think.
yeah, I think maybe I would take it out. Maybe try to make it a bit thinner.
Take what?
Take a bit of the.
Okay.
Maybe try to make it a bit thinner, and then let it dry a bit. You know, let it dry,
okay.
and you will see that once you let it dry, you can move it easily.
Okay.
It's a bit of a slow process, yeah. I don't know, maybe you can do another shape next to it, so you build like a couple of them, so you make sure that you have different things going on.
Could be worth maybe flattening the bottom of it as well, so it stands upright.
Okay. So the inside structure is made. The top is just like like a bark, and then the bottom bit is just not great. Like it's not solid enough to kind of shape it with.
Wait. Yeah, I think because it's
so like the bottom bit is made of that.
Sorry, we've lost.
We cannot see you.
So maybe this is. Oh no.
Go through and then pin it.
Cool concept, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard. Like it's here, but. Oh yeah, now I see.
So because it's made out of this stuff, I feel that maybe it's just not quite like strong enough to move.
But it looks quite. It looks that it had quite a lot of clay, no?
Yeah, although there is quite a lot of straw at the bottom of this. So if I open it up.
Yeah, maybe you put a bit much straw. You mean?
Yeah.
You know what? Also, what you can do now. So whatever wherever you see cracks, just make sure that you kind of like stick like put the clay with your fingers.
Yeah.
To make sure that it doesn't crack and that the clay stick together. If that makes sense. I don't know if I make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine is also like kind of cracking, so I just need to let it dry for a bit.
Okay.
Add the mixture. Maybe people want to show around. Like it's someone that wants to show that hasn't shown yet. That hasn't yet. How do I go to?
Can I show mine, Maria?
Yeah, definitely, Umi, show us what you're up to.
I don't know whether I'm just going to try it out. I don't have any seed adding on to my soil, but I've got the straw and the soil together. Just give it a go whether this.
Wait.
Yeah. What do you think? Does it gonna leave all this green thing?
So cute. So sorry, can you repeat what you want to like this? You collected from the outside and you are thinking about adding it.
For now, I'm gonna leave it as it is like this, but I don't have any seeds with me, so I'll just do whatever that I have. So what I have, what do you call this?
Moss.
Moss, yeah. So do you think the moss will grow together with the soil?
I think I tried something like that. I just think it really depends on the conditions of the space that you are putting the sculpture. So maybe you want to. Did you collect this moss from the outside? of your
Yeah,
house?
right in front of my house.
So maybe just leave the sculpture you made next to it, and just go outside and water it in there, and then see if the moss starts growing there. What's probably gonna happen is that the piece disintegrates quite easily.
Okay.
But yeah.
The other one is a bit wet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't have the clay. So maybe I just need more time to get it a little bit dry. But it holds together though.
Yeah, it looks good. I will add more thickness. So I will add a bit more of clay, of the earth. And then, as you say, let it dry a bit and add the seed mixture. Cool. But you say that you don't have seeds, so maybe you can, for now, do this sculpture like the one you're doing, and maybe tomorrow you can add the seed mixture, you know, because it will be more dry, so it's going to be easier for you to add the other mixture around.
All right. Sounds, good idea. I'll do that. Thank you.
The hard work, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. If it wasn't for having to add this much clay, it would have been a lot quicker.
Yeah, I know.
But that's my fault.
No,
it stopped. This is looking all right though.
Yeah, I think this one. I don't know if you have a.
Yeah, I think we're about there. But
I don't know if you have a dryer.
Yeah.
I mean, we can add the mixture just on at the top. I don't think we can add it in the.
Yes, and make it a bit more dry.
We add the seeds.
This will be fun. This one.
And once that dries a bit, we can add it.
Yeah, we can also do like a layer on the.
I mean, if we leave it for a day, I'll probably put it in Monday and I can add it then.
I use the structure that.
Quite nice having that growing.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot. That's because it's a bit cold in here. Like it's so super.
Yeah, I mean, it gets pretty good daylight during a few hours, but it's not like too direct.
I don't think we can leave it here. Maybe we leave it somewhere here.
I'll probably leave it where the metal thing is.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, this turned out to be pretty big.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks super nice.
Lying here. So I think we would need to wait quite a few hours before we can even lift it.
Definitely.
Oh, it looks amazing.
I turned it around and got to cover the underside. But now everything is kind of just blobbing down.
Yeah.
So
nice, honestly. Wait, I wanna try to take a picture.
If you can make it.
And then we have this other one, which is a bit more experimental. This is only the first layer. And we're gonna wait a bit and then.
Yeah, I think you should wait, but it looks super nice. Like it will have been nice to see how you made that shape. So is there natural fibers inside?
Yeah, it's like one ring of natural fibers on the bottom, and then there's a secondary kind of ring, which is like attached to the other one. Like
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it's like I made this ring, but now I could add, another half of the ring and then, put earth, so you can like slowly start constructing this little creature.
Almost looks like bone.
Okay, so you actually you don't need to make the whole fiber thing first. You kind of build up on it.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like yeah, like even though, for example, this one has already the seed mix, but do you think maybe I could build up on it and just keep adding?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like, I don't think it would be a problem. I guess it's better if you just add the seed mixture more at the end to make, to like keep it together. So like the seed mixture also helps to kind of stick all the parts together.
We would add a little bit more every now and again as well. If we started finding there were like kind of any cracks forming, we'd use it to fill the cracks. And like layer or like to strengthen certain areas. So we just like slowly add a little bit of water into this. It's quite dry actually.
This is this will be, yeah, but maybe I would like some like make it like this and add like a leg or something. Like make it less 2D. Let's see if I can. That's into it. I think if you add, I can make the mixture for the soil, and then if we add it after, then
they're nearly perfect.
It's me.
Should should we add to half of it just so we kind of give like an impression of thickness?
Yes.
Right. Should be good.
Did you put the seeds?
Yep, seeds are in.
Okay.
And it's been well mixed. It's quite wet.
Yeah, it's really wet.
But it needed to kind of, again, I think it's just that little mineral light.
So I don't know if you can see, we're just adding now the other mixture, and we're doing a thickness like this, you know, like it's not really like thick one. But we're gonna stop adding because we need to let the inside one dry a bit more. But that would be. I would say it would be super nice to see what people is doing. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the ones that are hands-on are already showing quite a lot, but it would be super nice to maybe to do a round and see what's happening, and maybe do like last questions or so yeah, whenever you're ready. We have like 15 minutes left, so maybe we could do that.
And one thing I'd say when you're adding on your seed mixture as well is just try work it into each patch you add. So you don't want to leave the lines. You want to kind of rub it. It's again similar to like ceramics.
I don't know how
You also want the fibers to kind of entwine. What are you trying to?
We have the garden. Message. We have a question that it says that they would love to know what is our reference point. Yeah, sorry. So what's your reference point where for this process, and EF from traditional indigenous knowledge, etc. Yeah, I think the reference was basically the technique that it's used in Spain to build houses on the adobe, basically. And we were looking at brick molds and yeah, like that was like the main point. So just like looking at the mixture that they do in Adobe, make Adobe, yeah. And from that we were just like changing and like adding some more compost or some more fibers or some more sand. So like it was, yeah, that was the reference.
Yeah, and then also quite crudely, it's also the idea of like a seed bomb, but like trying to make it something a little bit elevated from a seed bomb. And again, to kind of try and capture the attention and almost like the event of it.
Yeah.
And then again, yeah, the Beelines charity, we spoke quite a lot with them as well, and they advised on the expertise around sort of the seeds and more of the kind of the hard science behind it is yeah, from talking to them. But again, I think it'll be an iterative thing that we figure out, fine tune it.
And then, as I say before, we were also looking at beehives, sorry. So more like, yeah, objects that were made more like long time ago with natural materials. But yeah, from that, we have a book with a lot of images, but you don't really see any material recipes. It's just like guessing and knowing different ways of, yeah, that knowing that you can work with bark trees, or that, you know, that you can work with these sort of plants, or yeah, it's a bit weird to talking.
Yeah, I won't edit anymore because that is still very wet, but kind of shows the rough kind of thickness, so you can see like the difference a bit more.
Yeah, I can share this book. It's only like an archive, and it has like a bit of like tiny bit of text, but it's mainly this different pictures, and then the reference of where these pictures come from. I don't have the name of the book right now with me, but definitely we can do this group, WhatsApp group or whatever, and then I share this. I can send you some pictures also of the book.
Okay, cool. I'm putting my number and email address in the chat. It would be really great if anyone wants to send photos from today and as it grows. And then we can also start putting together some kind of community to keep this conversation going and make sure we kind of send references and stuff that were covered. I want to ask Maria and Sean, the one that you're making, it looks, so you're doing this like extra layer around the outside.
Yeah. What
is that for?
It is the extra layer that has the seeds.
Right, okay.
It's like the outside. So we were talking all the time about creating, making two mixtures.
Mm-hmm.
So the one in the outside has more compost and has the seeds.
Okay.
And it's more wet.
Yeah, it's our mixture, especially right now, is probably too wet, but we wanted to add a little bit, so you can kind of, I'll lift it a little bit to the camera, so it's sort of clear the kind of amounts you want to be adding on.
So it looks like, is that like an inch maybe thick around the outside, or less?
Centimeter.
A centimeter, okay.
Maybe just a little bit over. And as well, that'll impact if you're doing arches as well. It'll kind of, you don't want to make the arches too tight or too small, because then you're also adding that extra layer, which will cut down the size of the arch.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have said that earlier, but yeah. But yeah, I'd say give it a little bit of time to dry if yours is as wet as ours, and then try and add it on later. You could leave it overnight if you wanted to, but probably better to do it after a few hours.
Because it would be too dry if you left it overnight, do you think?
A little bit. I think another thing as well, actually, in the maintenance as well, is like it's probably quite worthwhile if you have something like this just to kind of help. So you can. Yeah, we would use watering cans for the larger one and just sort of like go, and then we'd wet the whole thing, and then we'd wet the earth around it as well to try and keep everything as like moist as possible. But I think especially for the smaller size ones, these will be really useful for just giving it a constant misting. And then obviously maybe just like pour water from a glass or a watering can or something to try and get it kind of a good dousing. And again, do iterative kind of waterings as well, so it has a chance to sort of seep into the earth more and more.
Yeah, what I think it's quite important that happens to us a lot of times is that you let it dry too much, and once you let it dry too much, it's really hard to get it wet again. So it's really at the beginning to make sure that it just it will dry eventually. So it's something inevitable, but the idea is that it dries when the seeds are stronger.
Yeah.
So it can survive, not at the beginning.
I was gonna ask something regarding the molds, the picture that you showed. What were you using for these molds, like bricks?
So we were using wood.
Wood.
And we really recommend wood because wood absorb a bit the water. It's not like plaster works better, but again, because we work with more our surroundings and what we have, then plaster is a bit more messy, and you have to buy, and then that you can cut and make like a simple mold. So yeah, just use wood because it will absorb the water, and you will be able to. So you add the clay, you press the clay, you make sure that you're pressing, and you let it sit for some time, and then you just
about 15 minutes or so.
It depends.
And then you're like joining the elements to make like more of a. Like how do you work this kind of joint between? You just rub them, or
we just cut into it to make the kind of the rivets, kind of just like bonding pieces of like ceramics together. Just cut into it, a little bit of extra water, and then we added a little bit of like kind of, we add a bit of wetter material sometimes, just like a little mortar. And then just sort of squeeze on top, and then again smooth off the edges.
Even we were doing it. We were even doing like in ceramics, when you stick parts together that you cut a bit, you do some cuts, so then you can kind of create the sludge and
like merge them like a joinery.
You can
say it in Spanish.
Barbotina, ¿sabes? Como barbotina.
Yes.
I'm not sure the word in English. I think it's sludge or something like this.
Slip, I think.
Yeah, but I think there is another word, but I'm not sure. But yeah, just kind of like.
And the process took you 2 weeks for this big one you did.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of that was us gathering and cleaning the soil. So we spent like a lot of days just there. Digging, scraping, sifting, and then waiting for things to dry.
Exactly. What we did is like we did all the molds. So we prepared all these pieces, and then once we had them a bit dry and they were able to hold together, then we started stacking one on top of each other and covering with the seed mixture. But first we did all the molds, like all the bricks.
And since you started assembling the structure, how much time did it take until you finished?
Couple of days, couple of afternoons. I would say like maybe like 6 hours, 7 hours. Yeah,
it went quite quick.
Less.
I think again with that, it's like just waiting for things to dry a bit, and we were being very careful. Like we probably could have done it a bit quicker, but I think we were scared of collapse quite a lot. So we were trying to, we'd sometimes leave it overnight to dry rather than try and push it anymore. And then we'd kind of start again the next day trying to get the arches done. But I think we did the arches. We didn't do the arches all in one day because I think we kind of got the first arch across, and then we wanted that to be dry and secure before we then started putting pressure on it from the other points.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. We've got like 5 minutes left. So if anyone else has some final questions they want to make sure are answered. But yeah, feel free to get in touch with me or Sean and Maria through Instagram or email or my mobile number. And if you have any questions again later on. But yeah, 6 more minutes. Hi,
Hello.
Justin.
Sorry.
Hello.
I had a question actually. Because in terms of the form of the molds for the bricks, they were kind of like a hexagonal shape. Could you be a bit more like experimental in using maybe just sort of like more organic sort of molds, or is the hexagonal shape just more convenient in when actually forming the sculpture?
We kind of viewed it that we wanted the bricks to be a little bit more uniform, and then the organic shape came from like playing with them afterwards and like manipulating them. So we'd cut angles into them to kind of get the arches and the curves. And I think the issue you have if you get too kind of detailed in the mold, a lot of the detail will be lost. Like the mud won't hold it at all. And again, I think we kind of did hexagonal because I think we just wanted it to be made out of wood, and it just seemed like to get this sort of size, and with the,
we wanted a cylinder shape, like we wanted to be rounded. But I do think you can experiment. What are you thinking about? Like, I think you can experiment with molds if you maybe think about just making that piece, but we were thinking more about bricks. So we were thinking about the shape that was able to assemble together.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess definitely would probably work much better like that. And then sort of, as you were saying, like sculpting with the outer layer, sort of sculpting around the hexagonal shape. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem.
Okay, we are going to leave, but thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to be part of this workshop, and I hope we can keep communicating in the future.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much,
a lot
guys.
for joining.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave as well. Thank you so much. This is new experiment for me. Totally new. I hope I can continue and adding on with my project with kitchen waste, perhaps with soil.
It's a really nice idea. Keep us updated, and please do ask us questions if you need any guidance.
Also, if you want to do more of the moss as well, I think again, like sort of keeping it using the spray for the moss would be absolutely key, because it loves that high like moisture environment. So that'd be really cool as well. I'd like to see a moss sculpture.
Cheers. Thank you, Sean, Maria, and Eliza.
Yeah, Eliza. Thanks, Umi.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi guys. I just had one last question. How long do you reckon I've taken a bit off at the bottom, but not that much. And I was just wondering, because it's outside in the sun, maybe to leave it a few hours and then try and put the seed mixture on.
Yeah, be careful that if you're in Spain, the sun is really warm, so don't let it. And maybe directly to the sun. Don't leave it directly in the sun. I don't know if it's warm. If it's not that warm, it's okay. And if you leave it in the sun, maybe just for an hour, not much.
Okay, cool.
But it looks
great.
Sorry. Good job.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you. Did you manage to do anything, Greg? Like,
yes, this like dome. I'm trying to see if I can swap my camera around so you can see it. Oh yeah, here we are.
Nice.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, form for a bigger one over there somewhere on the end of this bed, a giant one. But like this is a maquette for my igloo.
Yeah, you could use geodesic dome structure and then maybe, weave in between the gaps and then just start cladding the mud.
Yeah, it's kind of the rough idea I was thinking. It's kind of what there's just like a core in the middle here, and then like this the kind of more clay one, and then the more. It's got a lot of char in it. This seed mix though, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
From this, but I don't know.
Maybe, do you think a lot of the seeds are in the outside?
Yeah, no, there's only like this much around it's only about a centimeter on the dome.
But you think the seeds are covered, or you have a lot of seeds that are exposed?
No, I think most of them should be covered, but a lot of them are tiny. A lot of what you can see is just
you
the
don't
actual
see. Yeah.
char. Yeah.
Because you can always add one more layer, like a really thin layer of more compost around. Well, of the last mixture you did, but without seeds to cover.
Okay. Yeah, that could be cool.
Is it empty inside? Like, did you put fibers or it's all earth?
Yeah, I put this. You can't see it. This. It was like this. I think it's some sort of, I don't know, perennial seed bud or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I only use the thin bits. This is why all the thick bits are left.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Thanks for sharing.
Awesome. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll put it in the fish tank.
Cool.
And good luck to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did some tests of trying to put some clear plastic sheeting over to see if we can keep the moisture in that way, and apparently it didn't work. So just to forewarn.
Because I think the plants need some actual air. Air. Sorry. So it kind of needs to breathe. So make sure.
There's definitely loads of air in there. It's just where you can see. I'll show you. Why not? Yeah, some chard growing.
Yeah,
it's growing well. And just put like a lid on. Stop the slugs.
Yeah,
there's loads of air in there, but it's good for
Yeah, looks good.
So good luck. I mean, it's just too early for the seeds, really. It's too cold still. But,
let's see if we manage.
Yeah.
Nick has a good point in the chat as well about the kind of yogurt and moss technique for sandier soils.
I've tried that with moss before, and I couldn't get it to work.
I did manage actually. I did manage but I used it with a fired ceramic, a terracotta pot. Yeah, like I think it's different. If what you're looking is like bacteria and fungi, then it's good, but like I'm not sure how compatible are with plants.
Yeah, it was just something I heard.
Yeah, no. I did try it, and it's actually it gives a really nice and interesting results in colors, and so it's something nice to experiment. But I would say maybe also with fired ceramics more than unfired, because you need to have it really moisturized. So like kind of
so it'd have to be in a really shady
shady and humid.
Cool, yeah.
For instance, in this, I tried this and I keep it inside a bean bag and it grow in there. So it's no light, it's another environment. But it's an interesting experiment also for another kind of species.
Cool. Eve, did you want to?
Yeah, sorry.
Hey.
Hi. I basically made a kind of mud pie, and I think it's too watery. But that's it. But
it's holding itself.
It's like I turned my barbecue upside down, so it's in this section here.
Okay.
And then when it dries, I'm gonna reverse it, so it'll be a kind of pyramid.
Nice. Yeah, you just need to let it dry a bit.
But I just wanted to ask, is charcoal good for growing?
Yeah, so basically what you have with the compost is a combination of nitrogens and carbons.
Yeah.
So the charcoal is basically just really carbon heavy. So you tend to get the carbons from if you put like dead leaves or kind of the drier orange yellows in.
Because I have all of this. I don't know whether it would be useful.
Maybe a little, but not a lot, because you want a balanced nitrogen carbon balance in composting. But extra carbon, yeah, wouldn't hurt as long as you don't chuck in loads.
Okay, maybe I've ruined it because I put in one of the.
Oh, we lost you.
Sorry. Hello. Hi. I just put in one of the like sticks from the fire in the middle of it. But
that would probably be fine. Also, it'll probably be quite good for trying to pour moisture into it as well. So yeah, maybe water a bit extra.
Okay. Also, I found these honesty seeds. I know, could I use those? Can you see?
I think maybe give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a try.
Okay, cool. And I missed the section about actually putting the seeds in. Is it too late now, like to add them, or how do I do it?
We do it. Yeah, the way we do it is as a second layer, so a second mixture. So I think leave that to dry for a while. That looks quite wet, so maybe leave it to dry overnight.
Yeah.
You can just mix up another mixture, and then you throw your seeds into that mixture, and then you'll do like a little layering. So you can see on this
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
And yeah, so your seeds all go in the outer layer.
Okay, cool. Okay, maybe when I flip it the other way up.
Yeah, Eve, check your email, and if you haven't received it, then message me because I've sent out the PDF. And in there it'll tell you how to do that outer layer with the seeds.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
I'll try
and make more. Also, I used my table as a sieve, which was quite good. And also a bike basket. Getting inventive.
I was looking for sieves yesterday and nearly bought an acorn birdseed holder because it was the only thing I could find at Lidl at the time. They didn't have any.
Nice.
Yeah, actually photos of everyone's tools would be amazing as well. I really love that kind of DIY.
Cool, I'll send some. Cool, thank you so much, you guys. It was really nice to participate.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's.
I'm going to leave now.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Nick. Thank you. It was great.
Thanks, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah. Send pictures.